we screwed it up.
What a surprise.
Yeah, right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Basic AF. Tom Anderson, joined as always by Jeff Battersby, also known for this episode as the COVID Kid. Hello, Jeff. How are you, sir?
Hello, Tom. I'm good. I am dealing with the ravages of COVID for the third time, and I'm okay. I am okay. Not
Well, I'd
dead
like to
yet.
hear that.
Yeah, same. And we've also got a guest. We've got a new gentleman who has put out a new app who's going to class up this podcast because he has an English accent. Marc Palmer, welcome to the Basic AF show.
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we just got sexy is what we did. We got the English voice, and now we're fancy.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us, and we're very happy to have you here. And we want to talk about the Shareshot app, which we talked about last episode. That was in our app updates that we did there, and so we thought it would be great to have you on and talk about that because we think it's a really great app, and so we'd like to hear the story behind it, get to know you a bit more as well. So, welcome.
Yeah, and we
Thank
do
you.
love it. Paying customer. I'm a paying customer. And wanted to also point out, somebody busted my chops, Tom. This is actually just an hour or so ago. Somebody was listening to the last episode, episode 42 of the Basic AF show, and they said that we missed a chance. I've never read this book, but 42 apparently is a big number in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and so Mark is shaking his head like
It's the meaning of everything.
yeah, there you go. And so apparently
It was a
you don't
blown
know.
opportunity. Man,
We screwed it up.
what a surprise.
So, yeah, right. That's an everyday thing for us. Every episode is a screw up. So anyway, thanks for busting my chops. That's my friend of mine that keeps me in line. So thank you.
You need those.
Yes, yeah, definitely do. So let's dive right into it. We want to talk about you, Mark, and your app Shareshot that we love a lot. Both Tom and I love a lot. It's a great little tool. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how you came to put this great little app together?
Sure, thanks. Okay. Well, I was of the I've been around for a long time, as you can probably see. Obviously,
So
listeners can't. But I'm one of those kids who had a Sinclair Spectrum at home, BBC Micro, the English starter computers. So I've been doing it since I was very young, and through a whole bunch of contracting jobs, doing web stuff, all that kind of thing. I ended up in 2013 getting the opportunity to switch to iOS development. I'd wanted to do it for a long time. And I had a contract fell through, but they still had to pay me. And I had an operation, so I had a lot of time at home. So I spent 6 months just getting my first app together. And that's how I got going with iOS development. At least.
What was that first app?
The first app was called Soundproof. It was an app for practicing playing music along with songs. So a looping audio player essentially.
Oh, interesting.
With some nice simple UI, big controls, so you could use it from a distance. That kind of thing.
Nice.
And I had no idea about selling apps, so I made no money.
It's like this podcast.
Yeah, right. We make a lot
good
of
at
no
that.
money fast. We're great at it. Yeah, exactly. Right. So, are you a musician as well? Then is that?
I wouldn't say that. No, I can play some guitar. I can play some drums.
Okay.
My father was a musician who had some success, but then he also turned to computers, which is why we had them in the house.
Success? Anything we would know?
No. I can point you to a YouTube link later of it being performed on Top of the Pops in the UK back in the 80s.
Okay, all right,
Nice.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's super cheesy.
A lot of the 80s.
Yeah, right.
Quite.
Awesome. So you said that was 2013. You began doing iOS development, and so you've worked on that music app. Did you do any other apps in between that and Shareshot?
Yeah, I mean, really getting that app done was obviously something I wanted to do. It felt like it would be quick and easy. It wasn't. Most of these things. But it led to me getting contract work as an iOS developer. So from that point forward, I've been working commercially for doing iOS work. And then I had, what did we do? We made a fun little app, just because it made us laugh. It probably didn't make nearly as many other people laugh. We made a kind of insult generator app called Hobson, which is still in the App Store. And after, again, made no money with that. After that, we made 2 years ago, the most recent app before Shareshot was Captionista, which is still in the store. And we're still working on that. That's a app for subtitling videos, and captioning videos without having to do it, say, inside TikTok or Instagram. And it does not have AI transcription. It was designed especially for videos that don't have audio to transcribe, so
interesting.
Developers like me who have to produce TikTok videos to promote apps tend not to like talking all over things. So it's a different approach. Again, not particularly successful, more successful than the others. But we have work to do on that, and we will be putting some Apple transcription support into that.
Oh, very cool. That's excellent.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm downloading Hobson as we speak. So,
oh no! Oh no!
let me see what we can come up with.
It's so dad humor. Really
That's great. That's right up my alley.
I know, and that's why we like it. But
frothing ditch wrangler.
That's from the screenshot, isn't it, in the App Store? Yeah. I don't. To be honest, I don't think he works so well on modern devices and OSs. He needs a bit of love.
That is fun stuff. I will. I'll be playing with that and use it against Tom from now on. That'll be
excellent.
A good time. Yeah. All right. So what was then? You actually work on and Tom was familiar with it. I'm not. But you work presently on another rather large. I would assume it's part of your contract work. Large product. What is and that is, and what does it do?
Yeah, sure. It's Concepts, the sketching and ideation app. It's a very popular app on the App Store. I've been a hired gun for them, working on the iOS app for the last 5-6 years now. Wow. Really, really nice team, and it's a really fantastic app. Yeah. My issue with the app is that I can't draw for crap. Luckily, I don't work on those parts so much. But yeah, it's great. Over the last few years, we've taken it from what used to be called a shoebox app, where it didn't have documents. You create drawing documents, but you couldn't see them anywhere except in the app. So then we made it use public document folder. And then this year we shipped iCloud support. And that's all the kind of stuff that I worked on.
Nice.
Okay. Continue to.
Yeah. And that's one of those kind of infinite canvas apps for sketching and working through your ideas and things like that.
Yeah. But it's interesting because it has real hidden depths. There's a lot behind the UI, and it can be a bit overwhelming at the start. Or a bit confusing, but it's very popular, for example, with architects and designers, because it has these features for putting measurements on. It'll automatically measure the length of strokes and things like that, and put the little labels on the canvas as well. So there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah, a lot of nice tools.
Very cool. So, Shareshot, how did that come to birth? What was it that made you think? By the way, very clever app. You can explain it to our audience, but it really is. It puts a nice wrapper around screenshots from various devices. What was it that led you to develop that?
Thank you first for being so kind and for your enthusiasm for it. It's very much appreciated. Yes, it's a strange story in a way. it was almost exactly a year ago to this day that I saw a toot on Mastodon from somebody I follow, and he posted a screenshot that was framed with a nice background behind it of something inconsequential. I think something his wife had said to him on a message, and something clicked in me, and I asked him what app he used for that, and he told me, and I checked it out, and I hadn't really thought about sharing screenshots in that way in social media previously. But at the same time, working on my previous app, I'd been through all the pain of having to produce all the screenshots for the App Store and for marketing, for your press kit. You need framed and unframed ones and all this stuff. And it's always been quite painful, even though there's a bunch of other options. I mean, Federico Vitici's framing app shortcuts are very good.
Yep.
And there are other apps out there too. But I wanted something that would enable me to batch process things, say using shortcuts, but then also use the same app to do the social sharing and not have to worry about it putting the screenshot into the wrong frames and distorting things or putting the wrong notch on and all this kind of stuff, And those were the kind of limitations that I found with some of the apps out there that already existed, because I know very well building your own app to solve a problem that's already been solved, but in just a very slightly different way is not a great plan. So we had I had some big ideas that I wanted to prove out with it. But essentially, for the listeners who don't know what the app does, you can take any screenshot from your device. I'll rephrase that. You take a screenshot and then you can open the app, and it'll automatically come up with that screenshot with usually the correct frame applied to it, so that it's not just a bare screenshot. It actually looks more contextual in a real device, and it lets you put pretty backgrounds behind it, and then you tap share and off it goes to wherever you need it to go. But then it also has quite a lot of shortcut support, so you can create your own workflows that will batch frame screenshots in certain styles and then save them somewhere or send them somewhere. And we also have a share extension as well, but there's a mixed bag with the share extension for OS memory limitation reasons.
Mm. Yeah, and I think for me, it's just so simple.
Yeah,
and because it does grab that last screenshot, and so prior I was using Federico's frame shortcut to put these things together. Used it for years, and it was, very thankful that he put that and shared it with everybody. But I would then have to take it and then do something else before, if you wanted to spruce it up, right? Because you would get the framed screenshot, looked great, but there wasn't any background to it or anything like that. And you want to spruce those up. I mean, most of my stuff is just to share on social media, threads, whatever. I put it in my newsletter for each in the section where I mentioned the podcast episode, and it's so simple, but it saved me, 10 minutes here and there, which is great because it's tedious work that I don't like to do anyway, like to build those backgrounds and everything. And they look really nice. And they're not just a simple color. You've got some nice gradients built into it. You can change the direction of the lighting. I think it's really, really well put together.
Yeah, definitely well thought out. And you can also change, what color, for example, take a screenshot on the iPad. It knows, first of all, what iPad you have, what it is that you've taken a screenshot on. So it's able to pull that up pretty quickly. You can change the color of the actual iPad, which is nice. You've got the ability to adjust the padding around it. And as Tom said, and this is a really nice feature, the fact that you can change the direction of the lighting if you want to. So you've got, it looks like, 8, 10. No, I can't do math.
I think.
Yeah. I can't do counting math. I made it. Yeah, and you don't know. Right. Good.
It's the compass directions. So I think they're the general ones. There's 8 of those.
So you can get sunlight coming or light coming from any one of those directions, change the shading and the shadowing on it. A number of backgrounds. It looks, how many backgrounds do you ship this with? It looks like a ton.
I don't know. I think it's about 30 at the moment.
Yeah. So,
But I'm currently working on the next release, and the chances are that will have some more enhancements to that. I mean, one of the things that we found out through doing this, ironically, is it's the backgrounds that are much more interesting to people. All of the hard work to make the framing happen, and there's quite a lot because we have some kind of secret sauce going on in there. That is kind of by the by, it's just, of course it's going to have the correct frame. Why wouldn't it? And it's all about the backgrounds for most people, which was quite surprising.
Yeah, that is interesting. But it also is what makes this kind of a not kind of a cool app, a very cool app, is that you have the ability to it looks like you could even throw in some of your own backgrounds.
Yep.
So you've got the ability to do quite a lot. So, if people are taking screenshots, they can brand the background if they want to, have the ability to, throw something back there that would be different, which is, for companies that are trying to sell things, branding becomes an important piece of that. So that's a great little feature. Now, you keep on saying we. Is it? Are you doing this as yourself, or are you multiple personalities? And
I have. Confusingly, I have a colleague called Marc. Also,
that's great.
Who works with me. He's an illustrator. He actually did, and the listeners won't see this, but these two posters here, these Studio Ghibli style posters, are nice. his work.
Nice.
He does that kind of thing. So he helps with the visual design and the product design and moral support. And I do the engineering, product design, marketing, and all the other stuff. So that it's really good. I love working with people. I don't really want to be a solo I'm solo indie in the sense that I make it, but without him, it would not be nearly as good.
Okay.
I need someone to bounce off and work through ideas with. And we've been doing some work on some extra frames that we'll be shipping that are non-Apple device frames in a future release. So he's been working on the 3D models for those. And I don't know if you saw some of the social posts, but he did use, he came up with some custom frames that are very simple, but for framing things like poster artwork. So it doesn't have to be screenshots. You can actually, as long as the image fits exactly in the custom frame that you make, it'll work.
Oh, that's really
very nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, some added flexibility there. That's good.
So, you sell this on the App Store. Tell us a little bit about, because the purchasing process, it's the normal way that you go through the App Stores, as I recollect. You because I tweeted out that it wasn't a tweet. I think I did it on Threads. I don't do Twitter really anymore, but maybe I did do it on Twitter. Can't remember, and I still call it Twitter. There's a little discount, but how much does this cost? And tell us a little bit about how much time you've put into this.
Sure.
Because it's surprising to me, but there's this expectation that for example, somebody was giving you grief about the fact that you had watermarks on this if you were using it. If you didn't pay for it, and you're doing work on this. This is several hours above and beyond your normal contract work. So why don't you give us an idea of, first of all, how much this costs, and then how much effort the two of you, the two Marcs, are putting into this? What type of effort is going into a product like Shareshot?
Sure. So currently the app has a subscription that is in US dollars, at least just under $2 a month, or just under $15 a year. It was about 30% reduced for the first week of the App Store. We'll probably run some promotions again in future. And in terms of, the reason we charge is, I'm not going to be a contractor forever, hopefully. I need to have a pension because I don't have much of one. I'm 51. So the hope is I can actually develop some products with longevity and have a customer base that I can keep happy for a long time. Which is, the main reason for going with subscriptions. But in terms of effort, it took a year of development, and I spent every spare moment working on it for the last year. I don't, I have a family, but my kids are older now. But basically 3 to 4 hours a day extra over my everyday job, plus weekends sometimes. It's a huge amount of effort. And so far we had a great launch week. Don't get me wrong. I'm really, really happy about how the launch week went. And we have quite a few subscribers, which was many more than we thought we would get. But nobody is going to retire on this money anytime soon. So yeah, and the incident you're referring to, I think it was on Threads. There's and somebody kindly mentioned us and said, your watermark is really ugly on the free version of the app. Sorry, I'll recap actually. If you this is quite an interesting thing. If you do something like a subscription app and it produces visual content, you have to do something on that content to stop people using it for free because they indefinitely, because they have to use it for free to evaluate it. You have this dichotomy. You want people to try everything that your app can do. And we feel very strongly about that. And we don't want to lock people out after a week and not let them use the app at all. So the only option is to put a watermark on. And you try to make it look as nice as possible and as minimal as possible, but you've got to be prominent enough to make people want to pay if they actually want to use the app on any kind of professional level. And this person on Threads said basically that our watermark was really ugly and that we should change it, which was interesting vibe because, okay, so you want me to do more work so that you can continue to use it for free in a way that's less obvious than it but it's funny. You'd love to give things away for free and let everybody use it, but this is the strange kind of VC mentality where people have a huge amount of money and they want to profit down the line. But if you're an indie and you want to make an honest buck supporting users, you can't do that. It's tough.
Yeah,
that has to be frustrating.
A little bit, but in a way it shows that it's working, that we actually got it right. Because, that person clearly wants to use the app, and now they're kicking up a little bit of a fuss because there's a little black thing in the diagonal corner of the device that says made with Shareshot.
I didn't think it looked bad, to be honest.
No, I don't think it does. It's a lot better than some of the other ones we thought of. But maybe, I thought, well, maybe when I've got more time in future, do I spend time on this or for the free users, or do I work on features for the paying users? But I could put in an option in future for some different watermarks and let free users choose the one that is least ugly for them.
Yeah. And, and it's such an interesting time that we're in. So, the three of us are a little bit older. I think you said, you're 51. I'm 53 on Monday when this show releases. Actually, it'll be my birthday.
I'm not going to say how old I am.
And Jeff is 112. But back in the 90s in particular, and really prior to the App Store and the Google App Store, man, software was a totally different situation in terms of how it worked. You had shareware, which developers would make, and you could download it, you could use it for free, and if you wanted to, you could kick them a few bucks or something like that. But then when it was still in boxes, which goes way back, and I know I can see some of the younger listeners shaking their heads, just hang in with us on this one. Yeah, a little bit of history lesson. But, you'd go and you buy the box software, and it was $100 or $150, or if it was a utility, maybe like RAM Doubler or something. You guys probably remember that. Yep. It was $49, right? And if you got an upgrade in 2 years or a year, it was $29, but you had to send them something. It was just totally different. But I get it. Subscription fatigue is a thing. Because there are so many options these days between streaming services and apps and, security services for your house and all those kinds of things. And so I don't want to downplay that because it's definitely a thing. But on the software side of things, $15 a year is a steal. It really is. But I think it's just, you go to work if you have a job. Like Mark, you said you do contract. I know Jeff does some consulting stuff. I'm full-time at a place, but I wouldn't expect them to pay me once and then I just keep continuing to work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, jobs are subscriptions. When you come in, you perform well, we continue to pay in the subscription. If not, we part ways. So I don't know. There's just something about it, and it's tough. And I do feel for software developers trying to make a living through that. Yeah,
I mean, it's fascinating to me, really, because yes, I've been through that whole arc. I used to sell some shareware stuff in the past, a long time ago in the 90s. So I've experienced all of that. And when I think about it, I think it's a perception thing, because yes, I understand subscription fatigue. We all feel that. But we didn't ever sit down and add up all the money that we spent on all the software and all the updates in the past. And software is so much cheaper now, even if you're paying a subscription.
Yes.
And what has changed, I suppose, is that we want to use a lot more of it. Some of us, maybe. And the lower price seemingly allows that. So if you then multiply that by subscriptions, it feels like a lot more. But also, we don't have much choice, really, because it's not really, I was talking about one of my older apps there, not necessarily working very well on modern devices anymore. You have to keep the things working at the very least. And so if someone has paid once for the app 5 years ago, and you don't ever charge them again, but you stop developing it, then they can't carry on using it anyway. It's not, the whole point with the subscription is it aligns the motivations of the user and the developer.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel, and I've complained about it here before too, there are apps that I've given up because I don't think the benefit of them has added up to what I'm paying annually. And that's been true. And some of that is, as Tom would say, because some things get Sherlocked. For example,
yes.
1Password, which I used for a long time. I don't need 1Password anymore. In fact, I didn't need it for quite some time. I kept it around because it had some software licenses and things like that in it. There were other apps that I am happy to pay for every single time. This will be one of them. Shareshot will definitely be one that I'll use it for. Keyboard Maestro is another one that I'll gladly pay money for. Tom, not so much. He doesn't like that one. Too much, as he would say, too ugly. But there's, if it feels like value's being added, I'm always happy to pay a subscription, and I'm always happy to pay developers. I have for years done freelance writing, written for Macworld, a variety of other outlets.
Really? Cool.
Yeah. Not recently. I haven't written for them in a while, but I was there for 10, 15 years, especially when they were in print publication. These are apps that I used all the time. We both use, what is it, CleanShot, Tom?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I do too.
It's such a great app.
Fantastic.
I'll pay for that every day. And understanding that, I think it's important to understand, Mark, that you're doing this quote unquote in your free time, but it's not a hobby. It's an avocation. It's a thing, as you said, you're doing to make it so, you've got some income in your golden years. I might be in my golden years, but, you've got, it's a means for you to make a living, and that's valid. There is a particular point of view, I think, that things, comes from the internet, it should be free.
Yeah.
And that comes from the old days of Napster and, whatever it was that was, we were doing to get music. But there are, we need to support the people that are building the applications that we use regularly, or anything else that we use regularly. As Tom said, your day job is a subscription, which is interesting. I've never thought of it that way, Tom, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's It's bottom line. I said we had a good launch week, surprisingly so, and that is really motivating for me. We have so many ideas for this. It seems like quite a simple app, and there's not necessarily that much to add. We have a lot of people asking for multi-device screenshots and for video support. That's all on the list, but we have way more to add to this thing. And if we continue to get the money coming in, then it makes it worth our while.
Sure.
And hopefully we can grow it really nicely, and maybe one day we could reduce the price. We're not trying to be Jeff Bezos with this, and who knows? Maybe one day there would be a lesser subscription tier for people who don't need all of the pro features. But there's a lot to be said for simplicity too. Not having too many different price tiers and weird paywalls.
Yeah, I would say you're plenty inexpensive enough for what you're offering already. So I wouldn't fool with it. I wouldn't. You, on the other hand, know how much you're making or how much you aren't making. So,
yes. Well, we'll see. I mean, it's difficult because really, the real power is for people who are going to use it in some kind of professional setting. But you also want people who are casual to have fun using it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I think there's some value to that, because there may become a situation 6 months down the road where they do need it professionally, and they'll be like, "Oh, I have a great app for that." By the way, I think that's smart.
It's been a lovely feeling seeing. I've never had this before with my own apps. Seeing people actually using my app and posting on social media, people who I have no idea who they are, and they're posting a screenshot of their watch framed and saying how nice it is. That's really nice feeling.
Which, by the way, real quick, what I think is a nice touch is on the watch screenshots to be able to change the band.
Yeah, that's great.
I like that. It seems like such a little thing, but it's nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will be honest, it is a little thing because it's just different frames.
Right. That's okay. It's like, I can change the band so it looks slightly different than the previous screenshot that I did.
Yeah, exactly. And you can actually get more because we own. Are you talking Watch Ultra or Watch?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Watch Ultra, we only include 3 of the variations from the Watch Ultra 2, but the screenshots for the Ultra 2 are the same size as the Ultra 1 screenshots, and Apple has 3 more Ultra 1 frames on their Apple Design Resources page. So you can just, because you've paid for Shareshot, you can just download those, and then you'll have 6 options.
Nice.
Yeah, that is cool.
There you go. Pro tip.
That was one of the main reasons for that was one of the key things for doing the app as well, was custom frames. I haven't seen any apps that support that because it's quite a tricky thing to do. So because I didn't want to be what was holding people up if a new device came out and say I'm on vacation and they can't frame it, but now anyone who has paid can get the latest frame from Apple, and then and away they go.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like that. And so if people would like to learn more about the app, obviously they can go to the App Store and search for Shareshot. Website, shareshot.app.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, go check that out. Really excellent. If nothing else, use the free version and help promote the app with your screenshots. They'll look great for your social posts. But if you do need it professionally, highly recommend it. They look great and simple to use and adjust, which I think is a big thing because I'm not a designer at all. Like I struggle with that. And so to be able just to quickly make something look nice is worth a subscription to me.
Yeah, and that's one of our main design goals is, we want to have some flexibility because you want to be in and out quickly and come out with something pretty, but you don't want to be fiddling around with sliders and stepper buttons and things to get the 100%. It's too much, and getting that balance right is the hard work.
Yeah, and you've done a great job of that. So
thank you.
So thanks. All right, before we trip off to Never Never Land, we've got an event coming up a week after this episode drops. Right?
Correct.
Am I right? So
September 9th.
September 9th. So, Mark, let's start with you. Any wishes, prayers, hoped for things in the coming
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I was thinking, you guys have been around for a long time too with the iPhones. I'm getting a little bit numb to it, I've got to say, in terms of the progress on the hardware. Most of it seems to be in software, although this year's a bit of a slow year software-wise. But for me now, I realize the battery on my phone, even though I use it quite a lot, it pretty much lasts until like midnight every day. So maybe it's time to get thinner.
What are you using? What phone do you have?
15 Pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, for me, getting thinner and lighter would be a nice thing now. But also watches, are they going to bring the new sensors? Is that whole sensor stuff in the US going to get fixed? Who knows? And I'd also like to see some kind of concrete stuff around Vision Pro. What is the content plan? What's actually happening?
You and me both. Yeah.
Do you have a Vision Pro?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
There's a Vision Pro version of Shareshot. It's very nice.
There is.
Have you used that, Tom? Have you used this?
I haven't. Okay. Confession here. I haven't put the Vision Pro on in a while. So
it's a bit like that.
It's sitting on the table. I do keep the battery charged just so it doesn't, become detrimental because I haven't charged it up. But I saw on the content side of things, they've got a 4-minute inside the Super Bowl immersive video. Is it out yet? I can't remember if it's out yet or it's coming up really soon. But Mark, how are you feeling about that? Like the whole slow trickle of content. It seems like they're somewhat into it, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand what's happening. Everybody knows who has one that it's too big and heavy and too hot and too uncomfortable. But then at the same time, it's also pretty fantastic at what it does. I can imagine internally if they know that they can't get it lighter and more comfortable anytime soon, then maybe they would put the brakes on, but that could kill it off. So I don't know. It's really hard to explain.
Yeah.
And some of the technology has moved on to iOS and iPadOS. Like you can now in the I think the beta version of iOS 18 and iPadOS 18, it does eye tracking. You can use your eyes to So there's some of that technology has found its way into iOS, which is in iPadOS, which is great. I don't have a Vision Pro, and there's nothing about it at this point in time that intrigues me at all. And even from the first day it came out, I did go do a demo and thought it was interesting. The technology is amazing. The control capabilities are amazing, but nothing about it that made it for me.
Yeah. I suspect I'm going to dust mine off. U.S. football season's about to start. And I got it just in time earlier this year to watch the Super Bowl, which was pretty sweet. So I may dust it off for like the Sunday night games or something like that. But I don't know. Part of me wonders what the lifespan of this thing is going to be. If it's a long play, will it go 5 years and then kind of quietly disappear or what the situation is going to be? But we'll find out. It just depends. I didn't think Vision OS 2 added much, but it was kind of hot on the heels of the original Vision OS 1. But at the same time, it's like there were some obvious gaps there that, seemed would be nice to fix, like maintaining your spatial layout of your windows when you reset the thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see. Jeff, what about you for the event on the 9th?
There's nothing really that I'm with Mark. My phone is great. I am using a 15 Pro Max. And have been using Halide's new Process Zero that I'm loving. Really, really. In fact, I might want to see if we can get those guys on here. That would be kind of fun. But me and the watch. I'm wearing it, but it's I don't know. I'm happy for what it tracks. I really do like that it tracks sleep. I really do like what it's doing. I'm on the beta. For that, I'm on everything now. I'm on betas, and I'm happy with the OS, other than battery life, but that's to be expected. Hopefully, they'll tweak that before the final release. My watch now dies in one day. So that's
Mine's getting a little short too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But we're still. Are you on the first gen? Right.
I'm on the first gen.
Okay. Yeah. Same.
So
Mark, which one? Are you on the Ultra? Do you have an Ultra?
No, I have wrists that are far too small for an Ultra. I even I have the tiny size watch, Series 8.
With a very nice band. That's very nice. Band. Yeah, so I don't, what I'd love is, and I've said this before, is I don't know if I would do a ring, but if they were to do something like that just is going to track my health stuff and my steps and things of that nature, I'd love something like that. Then I wouldn't have to wear a watch. I've never been a watch wearer. I've been wearing it now for the last 2 years. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what's on offer. If there's an iPad mini that comes out, I'm not interested in that.
Right.
There's just not a lot that I need in terms of in terms of what's going on. I think most of what I've got now, I'm happy with. There's which is, I want to say that's a good thing.
Right.
The need not to have to go out and buy the next latest and greatest thing is, from maybe a stockholder's perspective, not great, but from it, a human with a limited amount of money's perspective, I'm happy not to have to spend a bunch of money to get something new. I don't know what I'm going to see in a new iPhone that would compel me. I know, Tom, you're on the edge of possibly getting a new one. So
yeah, I got the 14 Pro, and I was going to try and stretch that out to a third year, but the battery's getting a little short, and I want to be able to take advantage of the Apple Intelligence stuff when it comes out, so we can talk about it, write about it, blah, blah, blah. So I will upgrade the phone. I don't anticipate anything else. The Ultra One is still great. Just like you said there, Jeff, it, was easily a day and a half, maybe close to 2 days, depending on what I was doing before. Now it's a solid day, but I've noticed if I only charge it to like the 80% mark, usually when I put it on the charger at the end of the day, it's in the red because it's under 20, but still gets me through. If I hit it up to 100, I'm in good shape. So I'm going to ride that out for another year. Everything else I'm pretty good on. So pretty much just the phone for me, I think.
All right. So there it goes. So we'll see what it offers. Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us and classing us up with your English accent. That's a great thing.
I've never been called classy in my life.
Well, you're welcome. Among the two of us, added to the two of us, you're very high class, man. You're really posh. All good. As usual, show music, Psychokinetics. We're very grateful to Celsius 7 and Psychokinetics for letting us use their music for our show. Random Art and Design is our illustriously brilliant, I don't know what you want to call it, show artwork.
And Mark, real quick.
Yeah.
You've seen the artwork for the show, and now you've seen us in person. It's pretty realistic, yeah?
Yep, it is actually. very, very accurate.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, Randall does great work. We look like those two idiot robots in real life, which is pretty good. And Tom, I was thinking last week that we need to give you credit. All show editing, all the hard work that goes into this is Tom F. Anderson. So
thanks,
Tom.
Pleasure.
Tom is the show editor. I just listen to it afterwards and complain,
which is important because it stresses me out that it would go out without somebody listening to it when I'm done. So I do appreciate that. And now this is one of the funnest things I do. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad that we do it. And we've met so many interesting and nice people through it. Mark, yet another one. And we are grateful that you'd spend some time with us today. Yeah. Do check his app out. Go on the App Store, Shareshot or shareshot.app. It is wonderful. So Mark, thanks again. We do appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. So everyone, thank you for joining us. As we've said multiple times here, you have a lot of options for this type of content that you would share some of your time with us. We do appreciate it so much. And until next time, have a great rest of your day or evening. We'll see you then.
See ya.
I don't want to know about your imperfections, dude. Prefer to leave